A Sims 2 feels like you're on drugs or something. Like,
right?
it's not it is the most interesting game ever, a
Y-
baby game for babies, maybe.
I think babies deserve better game than that. I feel like
I agree. If we're gonna complain about it, like, what are we complaining about? That's every game. I can't even, like, jump to, like, Xbox games without getting frustrated because we're switching the A and B, you know?
right? Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this 21st episode of the Gaming Garden podcast, where we usually discuss everything related to farming games. But this week, we're going to talk a bit more about live sim games. I'm your host, Josh, and today's guest, you may know her for begging EA to please bring MySims back, and they did, so we can all thank her for that. Liz Dallas, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're funny. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to talk about like My Sims and all of the cozy game stuff happening this week because I feel like there's a lot of stuff happening this week in particular. We have so much to talk about, not even just Sims related. So that's really exciting and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you. Yeah, there's so much happening this week. It's been so hectic. It's been a busy month for farming games, cozy games. There is a lot going on. So we'll talk about The Sims. Not just My Sims, but I want to talk about The Sims in general because I don't have anyone to talk about this series with, like usually. So we'll do that. At the end of the episode, we'll cover some news. So we got a new update for Fields of Mistria last week. So we'll cover that. Sunhaven is releasing for the Switch very soon. There's a new Stardew Valley concert that was announced, and a new game from the producer of Rune Factory. So we're gonna go over all of that.
Oh,
Yeah. And there's a
that's
trailer, so
exciting.
yeah, very, very exciting. First, if anyone is not familiar with her content, who is Liz Dallas and what are you doing here on YouTube?
Exactly. Who is she? So my name is Liss, and I got started on my channel during the pandemic with Animal Crossing New Horizons, because everybody was playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. And I love and adore that game, but I have eventually moved into more of just cozy games in general. So I do a lot of Stardew Valley run throughs on my channel, and then I guess in the last year or so have been covering the Sims spin-off games. So there's a lot of really interesting Sims games that are on console that have story modes. And I know that's what Simmers are craving, to their dying breath. They're always like, we need more story mode in The Sims 4. Well, a lot of these games have them and they exist on these older consoles that aren't necessarily as accessible. So I like to make videos about those and go through all the story modes and all of the fun, wacky things in The Sims. And then yeah, just general farming games, things like I just recently did a video on Fields of Mistria, and I really adored that game in early access. I'm excited to crack into the update and talk about the update stuff with you today because I don't know anything about the update yet. I've been so obsessed with like the My Sims of it all this last week. So, you know, we're gonna definitely get into all of it, and I'm very excited about that. But yeah, that's me. Sims, cozy games, farming games, Animal Crossing. I got it all going on.
Amazing. Another fellow pandemic content creator. Because I started
Oh,
around the same.
really?
Yeah, I got laid off in 2020 from my job, and then I started YouTube, and then
Same. Yeah,
yeah,
we were both just jobless, unemployed, had nothing to do, huh? And we were like,
exactly.
oh,
Yeah,
well, let's try to do the YouTube
yeah,
thing. Did you always do cozy games?
yeah. I started with Animal Crossing New Horizons. I just did like island tours and like little decorating my island stuff like that, and then
Mhm.
Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town came out, and then I started doing more like farming stuff, and now I do yeah, like mostly farming games. So yeah.
Absolutely. No, I love it.
hmm So yeah, so this month has been kind of hectic. We got a lot of games that released. We have Mirthwood, Everholm, Luma Island, and Critter Cafe are a few of the games that I played and reviewed this month. I was wondering, have you heard? Is there any game that you're like curious about that you want to know more
I
about?
have not heard of a single one.
You've not heard of them, okay? So,
No, no, I haven't really been keeping up with
mm,
anything. I typically I watch your videos and I watch Iona's videos, and I feel like I get all of the cozy gaming news from you two in
mm,
particular. And I have not kept up at all. I've just been like MySims focused for the last 3 weeks. So, I don't really know what's going on. I have heard of Mirthwood and Critter Cafe. I saw you made a video about Critter Cafe
Mhm.
today. So I'm excited to watch that and see if that's worth checking out.
Yeah, well, we'll go over these few games. Maybe you'll find something. Maybe you'll find something for you by the end. So, Mirthwood released on November 6th for Steam. And one thing I love about this is that it's a farming life sim RPG, but it's very dark. We always get like all of these very cozy, cutesy games, but this one is a lot darker. The game starts as your whole village is burning down and you have to flee to another like continent. It takes inspiration from like the Elder Scrolls and Fable. So like you can be good or bad and your decisions are supposed to like make a difference. So
Oh, I love that.
I love that. But when I played, I found out that it doesn't actually make too much of a difference. Like you're
Oh,
like
okay.
you'll have a choice from time to time to like, okay, do you want to save this guy? Do you want to kill this guy? But I found that most of the time it doesn't really do anything. It's gonna give you like morality points, but these morality points don't really impact the world.
Yeah. No, you wanted something a little bit more like Bethesda-y where it actually affected
Mm-hmm.
the actions in the game instead of just going along with the predetermined story.
Exactly.
And yeah, that is a little disappointing. Do the morality points make a difference really in how characters interact with you or anything? Did you notice any of that?
No, that's the thing. Like I know there's like one shop where if you're kind of evil, this guy you're gonna be able to trade with him. If you're too good, he's gonna be like, oh, you're not like shady enough to trade with me. But other than that, I did not notice any different. I just went
Mm,
around the world interacting with everybody, but like nothing really changed. So I still had a good time. There's lots of quests, side quests. There's lots of exploration. Like it's a pretty big world. It definitely has that kind of like Skyrim feel of just exploring different regions and talking with
mhm.
people, doing side quests. But I was hoping for a little bit more consequences. But just for the art
Totally.
style and everything, I think it's still worth
Yeah,
having
it
a look
looks
at.
good.
Yeah. Hmm.
Totally. Mhm. And that's such an interesting concept too for a cozy game. I don't know if you saw the one, I'm sure you saw the one. The one, and I don't know what it was called, but where everybody in the town, like each time that you play, one of them is a murderer and you have to figure out who it is and it's different each time.
Yeah,
What is
Grave
that one called?
Seasons. Grave Seasons.
I don't remember, but it was like it's coming out, I guess, eventually, and I'm really excited for that one too. Because I wanna see more darker themes and stuff like that, in the
Hmm.
cozy game genre. I like everything being cute and quirky, but at a certain point, it does get a little stale when everything that's coming out is like that, and so I'm excited for a little bit more consequence and
Exactly.
things.
Yeah. That's one
Mhm.
thing I loved about like Echoes of the Plum Grove that released earlier
Mm.
this year because you never know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen. You can get sick, you can die, you can like you're planning to marry someone and then they get married to someone else the day before. I love that kind of unexpected and consequences. So
Yeah.
I do hope we
No,
get
I
to see
never
more.
played that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? That sounds great.
Hmm. So Mirthwood released on November 6th, and then November 11th, just a few days after we got Everholm. This is a farming sim where you play as this girl who's looking for her sister. You wake up in this town, you lose your memory, you don't remember anything, but everybody remembers you, and they don't know who your sister is. There's this little kind of mysterious vibe to it. What do you think? Like looking at this footage, what comes to mind for you?
The art style, I really like the art style. I can't tell looking at it if it's pixel art or not. It definitely looks like it is. And yeah, that always calls to me. It always
Hmm.
gets me interested right off the bat if I'm into the art style. Like we'll talk about a game coming up where I'm like, I'm not even remotely interested in the art style. So I like completely
Mm.
discount the game in general. And that's just how I am, but this looks really good. And my only thing is like the traditional farming sim, like, it has to do something super special and super different now
Mhm.
to really get my attention. Um, But yeah, in general, I mean, like, I'm really digging this footage and I really like that.
Yeah.
So it looks good.
Yeah, that's one thing
Mhm.
that stood out to me. The like it's isometric pixel art. I feel like we're getting a lot of top down pixel art games, but this one has
Mm,
this like isometric angle, so it gives it a little bit of something different.
mhm,
So it definitely looks great, but I'm not too sure if I played it for like 15 hours. I just don't know if it does enough to make it different. If you're looking for a farming sim that's gonna do something
mhm,
new, I don't know if that's gonna be the one. But
mhm.
if you're looking for just like the same old,
Oh, that's
but
pretty right
yeah,
there. That
I
looks
know.
good. That was
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah. Honestly, the houses, the buildings, even the little animals, it's super cute, but I don't know if I'll like really go back to it. And then after that, there's so many games this week, this month. I mean, Luma Island released on November 20th for Steam. Have you heard of this game?
No, I've never heard of this game. I don't
Mm.
think so. I might have, but I don't know.
So this feels a lot like Fae Farm. What are your thoughts on Fae Farm?
I didn't have a great opinion about Fae Farm. Um, and I think there was a lot of different reasons for that, unfortunately. When I played it, it was, I think, before the Switch release or right before the Switch release or something.
Mm,
Um, and so the game was very expensive, I thought, for what it was. The game was very
yeah.
expensive. And then they also, I think on the Switch, like you know way more about this than I do, than I remember, but on the Switch, it was a certain price for DLC that wasn't even out yet, you
Yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, why are we going so hard on like an early access game to sell on the Switch right now? Like it just felt really weird and I didn't agree with the price initially at all. And so that was a bad taste in my mouth, but also when I was playing it, um I didn't enjoy any of the character interactions or the dialogue. I thought it was all really one note and pretty bad. And so
Yeah, that's
it
fair.
wasn't it definitely left like a really negative impression on me in a lot of ways. And I think that in general the art style didn't speak to me and so that affected all of the opinions and made them all a little bit more intense and more of a hardcore negative, but I did see that they had it on the Switch at some point with Nintendo Switch Online, like, for free,
Mhm.
and I think that, you know, that's a good price,
Yeah,
right? It
free,
feels
yeah.
like a very, like, "Let's put this game on Game Pass" kinda game, you
Mm,
know?
yeah.
Mhm.
So I feel like Luma Island, the gameplay loop is very similar to Fae Farm, um, but it's like
Mhm.
the third of the price. I think it's $20 US, so it's definitely more
Right.
affordable.
Mhm.
I like that there's like different biomes, different temples to explore. So there's a little bit more exploration than Fae Farm, whereas in Fae Farm you just had like little mines. But I find that the gameplay is a little bit shallow. Um,
Mhm.
like for example, you go in the first biome, there's like farm wood, and then farm mushroom, and then farm berries, and then farm stone. And then the second biome is the forest, and you have like a forest wood, forest mushroom, forest berries,
Mhm.
forest stone. And it's just
Mhm.
like every item, like they're all the same, and it's all the same. It's just like very formulaic, I guess.
Yeah.
And then all of the items are used for different professions that are used to you sell them to make money, but the professions like don't really do anything. Like you can choose 7 different professions. You have like blacksmith, farmer, like
Mhm.
brewer, archaeologist, but they don't. They just make money. They don't do anything that adds to the gameplay. So overall, it just felt like a little bit shallow, and I felt the same with Fae Farm. So I feel like if someone likes Fae Farm, they might enjoy this. But if you're looking for like
Yeah.
something
Ton of
deeper,
people ton of people loved Fae Farm.
hmm
Totally. I did make a very negative opinion
yeah,
known online, and, a lot of people, rejected that, and so, yeah, no, I totally get it, but you know what this game looks like to me? It looks like RuneScape,
yeah,
and I
mm,
really dig that.
yeah. I love the retro vibe of this game. I just love how it
Yeah.
looks. That's what caught my attention like the most. And I think if
Mm.
you're looking for a mindless, kind of like Fae Farm, it's very just mindless. You don't have to think too much, right? It's very like
Yeah.
addictive, mindless, and sometimes you play a game and you don't know if it's you keep playing just because it's addictive or because it's actually
Mhm.
fun. So that's kind of, if you
Is
play
it
like
multiplayer?
yeah, it's up to 4 players.
Yeah, I feel like that would be what makes it really fun.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of people really liked the multiplayer for Fae Farm. I've heard that a lot, and this would be kind of really fun multiplayer, just kinda go out and go get
Yeah,
your fish, get all your materials, build up your whatever,
yeah,
whatever you're building,
yeah.
farm, homestead, whatever. It does look endearing, it looks cute.
Mhm. I tried the two-player mode. It definitely, like, makes things a little bit more interesting. One thing to
Mhm,
note is that your friend who joins you, they'll have to create a new character. So I think it's good if you're gonna play the whole game together. But if you just have like
mm,
someone randomly join you, they'll have to like create a new character and like upgrade all of their tools from scratch and everything.
mhm,
But if you play the whole game together, I think it's a good one for
mhm.
co-op. Last game, I kind of debated including this one or not, just because it's coming out on November 26th. And so this game is Critter Cafe. I think it's probably the game you were talking about earlier when you said that you didn't like the art style, right?
I typically love chibi, okay? I do. I'm one of those people that liked the Diamond and Pearl remaster on the Switch, okay? I'm into it. But this game doesn't look very cute to me, so I immediately discount it. But that's just my own personal fault, you know?
Hmm.
Like, I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah. So I mean, I too like chibi. I don't have like an issue. I know some people are really against the chibi style. I don't mind it, but there's something about the characters here that's, I know, it feels off a little bit and it feels like it don't match too much with the environment. This game is just
Mm,
not great. I played it for 2 hours and that's the most I could endure. So basically, you run a little cafe and then you go to these rifts to like find these critters. And when you run the cafe, customers just pop up on the chairs. They don't even like enter and like walk on the chair. They just pop up on the seat in your cafe, and then you go take
mm,
their order, and then you do a mini game to like prepare their coffee or their latte or like their cake or anything. Then
mm,
you serve the order, and then they disappear. And it's the same thing. So you just go talk to a customer, make the order, go talk to them. And so there's no like time management, there's no multitasking. It's really just talk, make the order. And you don't even
yeah.
get money. You get experience, but there's no money in the game. So like all the furniture is free. So it just doesn't feel like you're progressing. There's like nothing fun to unlock. There's no skill tree. So everything just feels like so shallow. And then you go in the rifts where you do these little puzzles that are not that fun, that are a little bit tedious, and you unlock these little critters that you can have in your shop, and the critters don't even like interact with anyone or anything. So it just feels, I don't want to say cash
Like
grab, but
a baby game for babies, maybe?
I think babies deserve better game than that. I feel like,
I agree. I
I don't
agree.
know, like when I was a kid, I still had like fun games. It's not because you're a kid that like, I don't know, I feel like there's lots
Mm,
of publishers and developers right now that are seeing that cozy games are popular. So they add like
mm,
cozy everywhere in their game description. And they think that because a game is cozy and cute, it's gonna sell. And
mhm,
they don't think too much about the gameplay loop. And there's no like
mhm.
proper like satisfying gameplay loop here. So the game just doesn't, it's not where I can't recommend it to like anyone. Yeah.
Oh, good. I I love that you're just, like, being so straightforward about it because, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of this kind of, um it feels mean to say laziness, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, it just maybe it's just not for us. We're not the intended audience.
Who's the audience?
Babies? I don't know.
I don't know. It's tough. I don't want to say laziness. I'm sure there are like so many factors that
Yeah,
go into like how the game ended up this way, like deadlines and things like that. But
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I know they released a demo. They had a demo like earlier this month or last month,
Mm,
and people gave feedback. People didn't like it too much. So sometimes you would think maybe they should be like, okay, we're gonna take more time, or we're gonna postpone the game because no one's
Mhm.
liking it. But they're just like, no, let's release it anyway.
I always prefer when developers take more time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's better. And, like you said, like, yeah, saying lazy is really mean. And I wouldn't say that actually. I take it back. But I think that, with time crunch and how much work and how much time goes into stuff, it's just, you can't put a game out that's like this and expect it to do well. Like, it definitely needed a little bit more time in the oven because if the gameplay loop's not even, like, fun and making sense, then what's the point, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't even play for 2 hours, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm,
And there's apparently 12 hours of content in the game. I can't imagine like having to go through that. You
mm.
would have to pay me so much to go. Like my 2 hours felt so long. Actually, it was an hour 45 minutes. It just felt so long. So
Yep. Not even 2.
mm-hmm.
No, I get it.
Yeah. So if you had to pick a game that released this month to play for your next one, is there one that's like tempting you more than the others?
Ooh, I honestly was interested in checking out the Luma Island just because it does look like RuneScape. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I know that sounds so silly, but like, yeah, I was kind of interested in that and like a nice little co-op experience. Um, Mirthwood, that does sound interesting to me still, even though you say the consequences thing, because I'm sure that that could be built and expanded upon
Mm-hmm.
if the developers are able to, because the concept just sounds so interesting, you know? And then Everholm looked really cute. I really liked the pixel art
Mm-hmm.
style, but the game has to actually be good. So I'd have to watch like a buttload of reviews and
Yeah.
videos just to be sure, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I will have to veto Critter Cafe.
Yeah, for sure. They are actually planning updates for Mirthwood, so maybe they will expand on that. I know they're planning to add like marriage and kids in the coming months, so maybe they'll
Mm,
work on these
mhm.
issues. So now, why don't we talk about The Sims for a little bit?
Ooh.
I was wondering, how did you get into The Sims? What was your first Sims games, and how did you discover it?
My first Sims game was The Sims 2. The Sims 2, I got that on the computer when I was a kid. I have actually never played The Sims 1. So, I'm 27, and so I feel like The Sims 2 was like the new thing at the
Mm-hmm.
time when I was growing up. And I remember playing it and being so intrigued because it's so naughty, Like, it's like, "Oh my gosh, like, this game is so scandalous, and you can fight people, and you can do naughty stuff," And so I really loved The Sims 2. I had, Sims 2 Nightlife and University, and that's all I did all day, all I wanted to do after school, and so that's where I started, and then, when the DS came out a little bit later in my life, I also played, like, The Sims 2 on DS, and then when The Sims 3 came out, was super into The Sims 3. In the Wii era, I had played The Sims 2 Castaway, and I had played, MySims, and loved and adored all of these games, every game that I've mentioned, I just was so into it, and so when I started making YouTube videos, I was like, "Maybe it's time for me to revisit a lot of this stuff because I haven't played a lot of this since I was a kid. And do I just have rose tinted glasses for this era, or are these genuinely actually good games? Spoiler alert, they're genuinely actually good. A good chunk of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've played a bunch of the console games on my channel that I'm like, this was entirely just to sell Sims 3 on the Wii, you know, just to get make a buck, like, it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, no, there are so many endearing games. What about you? When did you start playing The Sims?
So I started with The Sims 1, which
Mhm,
is so good. I actually still play The Sims 1 to this day from time to time when I want like something just like
mhm,
so simple. And it might have been one of the very first PC games I ever played. And
mhm,
one thing I find interesting with this game is that like my cousins were playing it. Even they were not like gamers, but they were playing The Sims. My aunts were playing it. My mom was playing it. It felt like the first
Mm.
big mainstream like game
Computer
that
game.
everybody was
Yeah.
playing, even if they were not like typically playing games. And so every time I was going to my cousin's place or something, we're always like playing The Sims together. And yeah, so The Sims 1 is amazing. And it was such a hard game, just like keeping your needs up in that game and like making friends. You needed like 10 friends for a promotion. Like every day you would lose like 2 friends because you didn't talk to them. And it was a
Yeah.
very challenging game, very simple, but yeah, so that was my first
Mm.
one. And then like you, The Sims 2, I played that a lot. I remember I had so much trouble installing it because there were like 4 discs, or was it 8? There were like so many discs to install it.
Oh, for The Sims
It's
2?
Sims 2
I
on
feel like 8
PC.
is pushing it. 8 is pushing it, but I do remember that the expansion packs were 2 discs.
Mm,
I remember that. I feel like there was only
maybe 4.
2 discs for The Sims 4? Or The
No, at
Sims
least
2?
4. At least 4. At least
You
4.
think 4?
Yeah, because I remember I was struggling to install it, and it was always like failing at like a certain point, and I had to like retry it.
Wait, I actually have hold on, I have one. Yeah. I don't have The Sims 2, um, but I have these Sims Stories. I wanna see
Oh,
how many discs they are.
probably
Okay,
less.
yeah. See, there's 1 disc
Mm,
here, there's 1 disc here, but the thing is about these ones was for they were for lower performing
mm.
machines,
I remember.
so they
Yeah.
really wanted to dumb down the experience a little bit. Okay, okay. I feel like 4 is pushing it.
No, 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 no.
That's a
I'm not kidding.
lot.
If you look it up after, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there were 4.
Wow,
Yeah, it
that's
was
just how
a.
the world used to be.
Exactly. We have it so easy now.
Mhm.
And then after that,
Yeah.
kind of like you, I went with the console games. So like busting out, Herbs, Sims 2, and
Mhm.
I was always a little bit disappointed with these games because yes, it was fun to have a story and like a linear progression, whereas the PC games were more like free play. But it was
Mhm.
not like the same thing, right? You couldn't do as
Yeah.
much. You couldn't have like a second floor. You couldn't like have a family. You couldn't. I remember. I think it was in The Sims 2 or maybe all of them. There was like a limit of furniture you could put in your house.
Mm,
So like you
mhm.
couldn't decorate too much, and they felt a little bit restrictive. But like you, I think
Yeah.
like going back to these games now, you can appreciate what they did a little bit more than back in the day when you tried comparing them to the PC games.
Absolutely. I felt the same way whenever I would pick up a console game, except for I didn't really feel that way about MySims because I think I was just like, these are totally different, like their
Mhm.
own thing. But any of like the mainline games that would get um console variations, those console variations were always like, man, like I'd rather just be playing the computer game. But like we had the family computer. The family has to be able to use the computer.
Mm.
So, like I gotta go play on the Xbox for a little bit. Oh no, So, you know, they were different. I definitely feel that way. Like right now I'm going through and I'm playing all of the handheld variations, and I'm trying to make one big video about that, and it's been very hard because it's been taking me a really long time to get through them,
Mhm.
particularly Bustin' Out and the Herbs on GBA and the DS. Those ones, I mean, they're their own thing, right? They're different, but they are a little hard and boring sometimes. And then right, like playing The Sims 2 on the DS, it's an entirely different game. It's the weirdest game I've ever
I
played in my
know.
life. It's so bizarre. And naturally, you wanna compare it to the computer version, but it's like, come on. They obviously have to be different. So, little kid us, just gotta suck it up. But now that I can look at it and look back, I just feel that they are so unique and so special, and they all deserve their own little spotlight, no
Mhm.
matter how much I hated busting out on the Game Boy.
Yeah, for sure. People are missing out on these games. I wish they would. You need to make a video for all of the Ask EA to bring all of them back. Like especially like the handheld games were so weird. Like The Sims 2 on DS, I played that one as
Oh,
well
yeah.
with like aliens and robots and like where it's been so long since I played it, so I don't remember too much. But yeah, they were
Mhm,
like so like story driven and funny
mhm.
and interesting. What would
Quirky. They
so
really leaned
quirky?
into that
Yeah.
quirkiness.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Do you think they would ever do games like these again, or they're just gonna stick with like the mainline stuff for the most part?
I don't know. I feel like, okay, with the MySims Cozy Bundle, I think that's a really good sign, right? That they're thinking about bringing back these older IPs or these older ideas, because they haven't made a story game since I don't remember. What was the last one? But it's been a long time,
Hmm.
okay? And so I think that perhaps what happened, like, when we look at, like, what happened with My Sims, like, those sales being so low towards the end, because, I mean, like, people were aging out of those consoles in general, and, just in general, like, I'm sure things happened behind the scenes that made them a little bit less good, and so people weren't rushing out to go buy these Sims spinoff games anymore, and people were just wanting to play on PC. Okay, yeah, wait. The last like story one that I can
Yeah.
think of is probably The Sims Medieval. The Sims Medieval was with the same engine as The Sims 3, and that was a PC game. That game was incredible. I loved that experience. I thought it was so fun. I want to see them do more stuff like that, but with the Sims 4 engine. But right now, like what we're seeing is like I'm sure you've seen the Project Renee clips online,
Yeah.
and that is supposed to be a kind of more like a microtransaction mobile game, more akin to the Sims mobile game that they have been doing, the Sims Free Play or
Oh yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just not
Hmm.
I'm not on board with that. I'm not into it. It's for somebody though. There are people that play those games.
Yeah.
It's not for me. I wanna see more stuff like The Sims Medieval. I wanna see them be porting more stuff to the Switch. I think the Switch is just the natural console port for a series like The Sims. Everybody has a Switch. I know that a successor is coming, but it's gonna be backwards compatible, so
Hmm.
it's fine. I think that bringing more of these older Sims games, probably the one I wanna see the most is the herbs. I think a lot of people would be super on board with the herbs coming back. Perhaps we maybe even remake the herbs or something, right? Or do something, totally different, a new game. I'm sure it's gonna be a little difficult to get the Black Eyed Peas back
Yeah.
for licensing issues. So perhaps we, think of somebody else that we can include in there or something, I would love to see a port of that. The Sims busting out, I mean, I don't know how well it would do. I don't know if it's worth their time. The Sims busting out is incredibly hard. It's just the Sims 1 console version.
Hmm.
It's really hard, and I don't know if people would really like it or connect with the art style. I already see people online not connecting with the My Sims art style, and that's totally fine. Um, as much as I love it to death. But, these more like modern games, even these stories, these Sims life stories, castaway stories, pet stories, those would be so cool to perhaps see, just have a resurgence. I would love it. I would love a new My Sims game as well.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's a lot.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I think the herbs is definitely the one game that stands out to me from all the spin-offs because it was just so
Mhm,
different. You had like all of these different styles, different neighborhoods, and I feel
mhm,
like you said, a port would be hard because of the licensing and everything. A remake would be so much fun. Yeah, I'd love to see more kind of standalone
mhm,
experiences. But like you said, now they're doing Project Runway and even The Sims 4. I feel like it's almost becoming like the base game is free now, and there's just like so much DLC all the
mhm.
time. So even The Sims 4 is almost this live service game, almost, right?
Totally. I would consider it that. Yeah, at this point now, absolutely. Yeah. I like that, with The Sims 4, you're able to kind of build your own experience, whatever you want to have happen in the game. I'm one of those people where I've really come around to The Sims 4 in
Mm.
recent years. I used to have a pretty like harsh opinion about it because I just felt like all of these packs and this DLC wasn't doing it for me. But now I've been having so many positive thoughts about all of the recent packs, and I've been having so much fun with The Sims 4. And I'm sorry, like I like the kits. Sue
Mm.
me, you know? I do like being able to curate and build your own experience and yeah, I don't know. I've been really into it lately. And so, I'm not mad at them continuing working on The Sims 4, but I do like and appreciate the effort to bring back some of these older titles
Mhm.
because these great games already exist. It's just people haven't played them. And yeah, being able to play My Sims Kingdom. My Sims feels a little bit more dated than My Sims Kingdom, but being able to bring those to a modern console, I think is always a good thing because these games are so good,
Mhm.
even if sometimes they show their age. Um, they're just incredible and, they already exist, so why not keep selling them? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I feel like there's lots. I think even like The Sims 2, you can't buy it anymore. Like the PC game.
Uh,
The Sims 1 is like impossible. Like you can't get it. You have to like download it, but there's no like
mhm,
legal way to buy The Sims 1. So I feel like
mhm,
just like ports or just like make those games available again.
mhm,
Because yeah, even if they're old, I feel like for me, I have a bit of a hard time with The Sims 4. I still play The Sims 2 from time to time. I feel like there's just so much more like attention to detail in everything. And just like, for example, I don't know, like having to go to the grocery store to buy the food or like having to go to the store to buy some clothes. I don't know. I feel like there's so much little details that you
yeah,
don't get in The Sims 4. With
mhm,
like it feels a bit more shallow to me. I guess it depends how you play. If you like decorating and building, then The Sims 4,
mhm,
there's definitely more you can do. But if you like more like gameplay, I feel like
mhm.
there's more in the older games.
See, I totally agree. From a successor, I've been thinking a lot about this lately. Whenever we do end up getting a new Sims game, I would love not so much open world anymore. I'm over the whole notion of the open world for The Sims. I love that we're doing open neighborhood, but why doesn't every neighborhood have like a little store that you can go and buy groceries and little things like that, and
Mm-hmm.
not even every neighborhood has a park. Like, I would like to see them focus more on, like, the open neighborhood of it all. It doesn't have to be this big, grandiose open worlds that crashes every 5 seconds.
Right.
It can just be, The Sims 4, but with just a little bit more oomph and effort into that open neighborhood, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that. Just for yeah, storytelling purposes. Because I feel like still when I'm playing The Sims 4, even though I do like it a lot, I am making up a lot of stuff in my head. I'm imagining a
Yeah.
lot of things are happening that aren't
Yeah.
happening in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be pretty good at playing pretend, I think, to like The Sims 4, maybe
Yeah.
as much as I do, but
I think it's always been like that with The Sims, right? The original concept was
Mhm,
like a dollhouse, right? The
mhm.
concept for the series. So I think we always kind of just make up our own things, even if they're not necessarily happening or like being dictated by the game. Yeah.
I liked how in The Sims 2, like, you go to the stores, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if they remade The Sims 2, somehow could I please get time progression when you go to other lots? Because I hate when you're like you spend like a whole night out on a date at a restaurant in The Sims 2, and then you come back and it's daytime. It's like, "Oh, time didn't pass." That's so annoying. It just takes
I
you
know.
out. It takes you out of the immersion, and so I feel like The Sims 2 would be a perfect game if it had time progression.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's one thing because I was playing The Sims 1 recently and it was the same thing. So you go
Mhm,
out and then you come back and it's just like you go back in time. So it is a little bit weird. In The
mhm.
Sims 1 it was useful because there was no like a day of the week, so you had to like go to work every day. So like going out was like
Oh.
one way to make it so you can do like other things because otherwise you like never had the time to do anything.
Mhm.
So I feel like it made sense. It made sense in The Sims 1, but yeah, that was disappointing to not have it back with The
Yeah.
Sims 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Do you have any favorite like expansion pack?
The Sims 2, I only had nightlife in university and I got by on that. I loved it. I didn't need a single
Mm,
other thing. I actually never played with any expansion packs for The Sims 3, but The Sims 4, I would say my favorite packs. Let me look up Sims 4 packs right now.
there's too
I
many.
mean, a lot of people love like Parenthood. I love that one because I like family gameplay. I play a lot with families. I use Get Together a lot because I really enjoy the world. I don't know where geographically it's based off of. And then city living, I think, is an essential because who doesn't want to play with a city? And then seasons, I think, is essential because having seasons in the game and those holidays, it adds to the immersion. One of my favorite packs, actually, is the Snowy Escape pack. I have never done a winter sport in my life. Okay, I've never been skiing, I've never been snowboarding, but I really, really like Snowy Escape because maybe it's because I'm living out this like fantasy that I'll do
Mm-hmm.
winter sports someday. I won't. I'm too scared. But I really like Snowy Escape. And then, other packs. I've never bought a stuff pack in my life, and I feel like I need to go and buy a stuff pack because
Yeah.
now that I'm like all about kits, it's like, okay, why haven't I went and bought a stuff pack? For game packs, I would say that my favorite are the occults. Don't play with them much, but I like having them in my game because I think that they make things interesting. And I still like the quirkiness of The Sims. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are looking for ultra realistic gameplay, and like that's great. But I think what makes the Sims series so good is its weirdness.
Yeah. Definitely the humor and everything with The Sims um,
Mhm.
is what makes it special. And I feel like maybe it lost. I don't know if it lost a little bit of that from like
Mhm.
game to game over the years. I feel like Sims 2 was a lot more like over the top. But
Yeah, weird.
yeah, especially when it comes to like the console and like handheld
Oh my
games.
god.
Yeah,
A Sims 2 feels like you're on drugs or something. Like, it
right.
is not it is the most interesting game ever. I can't wait to talk about it in a video. I should probably do
Yeah,
that this month and actually get it done. I've been working on it for a year.
that's a lot. Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. How do you like? Because you always, how do you choose what game you're gonna play next for video? Because you play so many like old games. There's so much to choose from.
Mhm.
How do you choose? I'm curious to know how you do it.
Honestly, like, if I'm being honest, like, how much time it's gonna take me, that's how
Mm,
I pick.
so
'Cause sometimes, like,
yeah.
there will be, a new game that I wanna talk about, right? Like, when the Stardew Valley 1.6 update came out, I'm not playing any Sims for a couple months,
Mm,
but if I wanted to put out a different type of video, you know, I have these short little games that are quick bangers, which like Sim Animals, that's so easy
yeah.
to just whip out. But if I'm gonna be playing like a handheld console game, or if I'm gonna be playing any of these Sims console games, they require more time and effort. So maybe not on a Stardew Valley month, you know?
Yeah.
That's honest to God how I pick. I tried to go in order a little bit, but then eventually I got out of order, so I stopped caring.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Now, let's talk about My Sims and My Sims Cozy Bundle retro
Mhm.
re-release. Uh
Yes, yes, yes.
the first thing I want to ask you, do you think your video, so you uploaded a video titled EA Please Bring My Sims Back that got over 350,000 views. Do you think it impacted in any way the fact that we are now all playing My Sims?
Okay, so full disclosure, everybody listening, I did work with EA on a campaign to get the My Sims Cozy Bundle on my channel. Um, and so I have worked with them on the My Sims Cozy Bundle, I guess, on my channel, just making videos. Like, I didn't work on the freaking game. Like, are you kidding me? But no, so full disclosure, just thought I would throw that out there. I did get to have a conversation with some people at EA, and they said that they had seen my video,
Mm,
but I don't think it had anything to do with the plan, right? Of getting a re-release going. Absolutely not. I don't think so. But I mean, I'm very flattered at the thought.
Mhm.
I did make that video over a year ago, and so I imagine it takes a lot longer of a time to get something like this ready, especially since they did make a lot of improvements to MySims and MySims Kingdom. Just, how it runs, performance. I think that takes a lot longer than a year to roll something like this out. And so,
Mhm.
but they said that they did see my video, and that is why they were interested in working with me. And so, yeah, I think that's where we'll leave that.
Oh, that's nice. It definitely got the game known. Like I feel like a lot of people
Mhm,
didn't know about My Sims, so I feel like
mhm,
it's more people definitely know about it thanks to your video. And yeah, I wonder how long it takes to do a port like this, or maybe
mhm,
like a remaster, because they did change a few things. Because those games were on the Wii initially, so they had to like change the
yeah,
controls. Because this game was very heavy on the motion controls, where you like
mhm,
aimed at everything with your Wiimote, and
mhm.
that's one thing that. How do you feel about the controls?
So it took me a minute to get used to everything, I will say, because I first started my playthrough of the Cozy Bundle when I got it in early access earlier this month.
Mm,
Um, I started playing with the handheld because I was very interested to see if they would add touchscreen. And when they did, when I saw that, I was like, yes, they added in touchscreen just because I think that it's a nice thing to have. And then when I docked it and was ready to whip out those Joy-Cons and try out the motion controls and saw that there was no motion controls, I am not gonna lie, I was a little
mhm.
disappointed. I was a little disappointed in that, but, you know, okay, here's my thing about the Joy-Cons motion controls is with a game like this, you require so much precision in the point and click.
Yeah.
It's incredibly precise with these motion controls, and I think that was kind of endearing on the Wii because the Wii did a pretty good job with it with the Wiimotes. The Joy-Cons, I recently played, that bootleg Cooking Mama game on the Switch, and it had some pointing and clicking with the Joy-Cons, and I was pretty impressed by how good it was, but I honest to God don't think it was gonna be good enough for a game like this.
Mhm.
And as far as other games with point and click motion controls, I'm not convinced that it would have been good enough. I think it would have been a pretty frustrating experience. I do think that the how the controls are mapped for the Pro controller, that took me a solid 30 minutes to get used to, for the first My Sims game. And, they are different jumping between games, so it's not the same exact
Yeah.
type of controls, especially when you're in there and you're placing objects, it's definitely different. You're using the D-pad more in My Sims Kingdom, but I do really like playing with the Pro controller, and I would say my favorite ways to play are definitely handhelds or with the Pro controller, for both games,
Mhm.
That's just how I feel, but
Yeah, I think you're right actually, because at first I really wanted to play with the gyro, from the Joy Cons, and but I think you're right
Mhm.
that it's never as precise. It's not as precise as the Wiimote, so maybe it is a good thing in the end that they didn't do motion controls for the Wii version. But I'm so glad they added touchscreen because I feel like there's not that many Switch games that use the touchscreen. But it definitely took me some time to get to, especially if you switch between like one game to the other. Like you said, the controls are different. I think you
Yeah,
do
you
get
gotta
used
get
to it, but
used to
yeah.
it.
Mhm.
You gotta get used to it, and jumping back and forth is a little bit jarring. But I like how all the controls were mapped. I enjoyed it. I didn't have too much of an issue with it after, the initial learning curve, you
Yeah.
know? And
I
that's everything.
Mhm.
Like, what if we're gonna complain about it, like, what are we complaining about? That's every game. I can't even, like, jump to, like, Xbox games without getting frustrated because we're switching the A and B, you know?
Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And what is the best improvement? What's your favorite thing from, like, coming from the original to this retro re-release that
I
stood
would
out to you the most?
say the, loading screens. I didn't
Mm,
realize how bad it was until I was doing my review video, and I have a clip of the Cozy Bundle Switch version loading screen. It's so quick, right?
yeah.
So quick. And I took the same exact clip on the Wii U, and it was over a minute long. It was over a minute long of a loading screen, and I almost made everybody sit through it for my video, but then I was like, "Oh, wait, that's really kind of boring and annoying," but it really was that bad. It really was that bad, and I didn't realize how absolutely terrible and bad it was until I took that clip, and I was like, "Wow, we used to put up with a lot."
Mhm.
Um, I'm just so excited about the performance being improved because, yeah, like, I don't think these games need much work. Like, if we were gonna improve on anything else, like, gameplay-wise, I'd rather them just make a new game. Like, let's
Right, yeah.
get totally modern with it, you know?
Mhm.
Let's make a sequel, let's make a new game. I think that that's a great idea. I would love to see that in my lifetime. We'll see how well the Cozy Bundle does,
Mhm.
but I think that we're all, just ready for that when it comes. But these games exist already and they're already so great. And I think that there's a lot of things that they could have added in that I do wish that they did, that I am more passionate about. Like I'm looking right now, we still have like the 3 skin tones. I would have liked to
Yeah.
see perhaps cast columns. I know that's, like, so silly for a game like this, but, like, there are so many cosmetic items, like, it would be nice to have a UI for, like, a menu to look at all of it instead of cycling through with A and
Yeah.
B. Things like that, I would like to see in the sequel. But these games are already fabulous. They just needed to come and be, improved upon performance-wise and modernized,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, I agree. The loading screen was such a like because I played it like 1 or 2 months ago, like the Wii version, for a stream, and then the loading screens were so long, and now it makes such a big difference. I think just for that, it's worth
Mhm.
the upgrade. And I feel like just the game as a whole performs better. Just like when you're running around, it's like so smooth, and the graphics look a little bit better as well.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh,
but
it's so pretty. It looks
it's
so
so
much
nice.
better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like you said, in terms of gameplay, they did not change much. Maybe they should do like another game if we want to see more gameplay. But since this game is pretty old, it first released in 2007. You've played the original. If people have never played the original game, they have no attachment to it, no nostalgia. Do you think the game holds up in 2024? Do you think it aged well? Or would you
Mm.
like what would you say to someone who has never played My Sims?
Okay, so I feel like if you've never played these games when you were younger, My Sims might be a little bit difficult to get into, just because you might not be jiving with it aesthetically, especially if you're like, just like a simmer, like a Sims 4
Mhm.
simmer. You might be like, oh, this is different because it is different. And I think that as you progress through the game, you unlock so many more blueprints and you unlock so many more building blocks and different exterior decorations and things that it gets more fun as you go through and you play and as you get used to the game. I don't know how many people are going to be willing to give it a chance like that. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of up to the individual. I do think that you can do so much with these games and get so creative, especially with them keeping or adding in the gardens from the PC version, which I know a lot of people were upset about those not having online features, and I never played that far into the PC version, so I'm not sure if I missed
Yeah,
that necessarily,
me
but,
neither. I don't know.
like,
What was the online? Do you know what it was exactly? How it worked?
I think you could just have people come to your garden and you guys could collect, like, special essences together and things, and I don't really
Mm.
know. I tried to look into it and I was, like, kinda confused. I was like, "I don't really know if I
Mhm.
necessarily would miss this so much." Um, but, I would love to see that in a future My Sims game done in, like, a really cool way. I'd rather see them put their full effort into that, because yeah, I mean, My Sims, it might be a little bit, to get into for a new player, but one game that I do think is honestly one of my top games of all time is My Sims Kingdom.
Mhm.
I love that game. It's incredibly easy to get into. You're thrust into it right away. You are thrown right the F in. You are just immersed in the story quite literally just like immediately. you learn the gameplay, you learn the controls, and then you get to go off and build such cool stuff right away. And I think that game is incredibly easy to get into. And I do think putting them together in a bundle is a great idea, and it's genius, honestly, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
love that they did that. I think it's good because they match each other so well and they complement each other so well because they are vastly different games in the same series, but they kind of go together. They gel. And
Yeah.
I like that.
They do.
Mhm.
I've actually, like when I was a kid, I played My Sims. I had never played My Sims Kingdom, so it was my first time playing it. I was not too sure. I thought it was gonna be the same thing, but I was gonna be in a kingdom instead of like a little town. And then I was surprised at
Mm-mm.
how narrative driven it was. Like right away, there's a story, there's like funny dialogue, and you go from like one island to the other. And instead of building furniture from scratch, you like help people and like you rebuild like things and on the islands, and you do like contraptions and like things with like gears and pipes. And it's a, I
Mhm.
would say My Sims is a lot more creative. If you want to build something and you want to just kind of do your own thing, yes, there's a story, but it's more like kind of do your own thing. But if
Mhm.
you're feeling more like you just want to follow a story, then My Sims Kingdom is there for that. So it's
Yeah.
almost like story mode, free play mode. It's kind of like how I see them. So yeah, they go so well together. Is there any other My Sims game? I've seen a lot of people saying that they would like to see My Sims Agents. I've not played that one. I don't know if
Mhm.
are there any other My Sims games that you wish would get a retro re-release?
Okay, so I would say My Sims Agents would probably be a good idea if we were going to make a My Sims Agents 2.
Mm,
That was in development at one point, but I guess it got scrapped. And so a lot of people are like pining for My Sims Agents too, right? They
yeah.
want it. They want it bad. My Sims Agents, I think, is a good game. It wasn't my favorite from the series. I gotta say, like my ranking for the series is My Sims Kingdom at the top,
Mm,
My Sims, and then My Sims Agents, and then the other ones. Okay. The other ones, there's My Sims Party. It's, just kind of a party game akin to, trying to do Mario Party,
yeah.
but with the My Sims characters.
No,
I
that's
don't
good. Yeah.
care. Um, and then, we have My Sims Racing. Oh, can you guess? Can you guess what that
Yeah.
game's trying to be? And then, there's another game called My Sims Sky Heroes, which I absolutely hated. Like, you literally just, like, fly planes, and
Mm,
honestly, like, I hated the game so bad that yeah, no, I think that we're good on that one. But My Sims Agents would be a game that I would recommend people play. The only thing is that, you really gotta like you gotta be along for the ride because yes, it's a very story-driven game, but it
mm.
ends on like this kind of crazy cliffhanger unless you wanna go through and play every single little piece of content.
Oh,
But it does have like a lot of really um interesting story elements to it. It is
okay.
more of like a story game akin to My Sims Kingdom than it is My Sims. You're not really like building furniture. You're going
Mm,
and you're being an agent at a a Sims spy agency, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
yeah. So do you still like collect
um
essences and do things like that, or is it like a
um
platforming, or
oh
what?
god, I don't even remember.
How's the
No,
gameplay
it is
like?
more like I don't know if you collect essences. Hold on, wait, it's been a long time. It's been like a year. Let me just look at my own video.
Mm,
I'm like fairly certain you're not collecting essences. You're solving puzzles, you're walking around and you're like solving mysteries. And then
mhm.
there is a decorating element to it. You can decorate certain parts of your spy tower or wherever it is.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to remember this game
Mm,
off the spot. There is a decorating element to it, but it's like really not a lot. It has like a lot of like puzzles and you have to figure stuff out. You've got to solve mysteries. You've got to
mm,
go out there and you got to recruit agents to your agency and you go to all these different areas and you have to like, help out everybody and solve crime. But yeah, I don't think you're collecting essences even at all in this
mm.
game.
I like how
No,
all
you're
of
doing a
these
lot of
games are
weird
so
stuff.
different, though. They're all like different genres in their own little series. It's so nice. They need to make a new game. I hope this bundle sells well enough that they're
Mhm.
motivated to make a new. maybe that's what they're doing. They're just testing to see if people are interested, and then they'll make a new game. I hope.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And I really hope that people really give these games a chance and like them as much as I do, because
Hmm.
I think the series is it could do so well now with this.
With the
I mean, cozy gaming's
yeah.
huge. We sit here and we talk about it all day, you know?
Hmm.
Like everybody's on the cozy game train, and I feel like these are like some good OGs that maybe could be revitalized and brought back, right? Like they
Exactly.
have been. We brought them back. We're ready to go. We're ready for new ones. I think that now is the perfect time, especially when the genre's booming.
It is the perfect time. What would you like to see from a new My Sims game? Would you like them to do kind of like the original My Sims, like My Sims 2? Or like would you like to them to try something
Mm.
completely different?
I think I would like each My Sim. Okay, so I'm imagining like each My Sims game being more so story driven, like how My Sims Kingdom and My Sims
Mm,
Agents are, but with like a different setting. And I think that we could really do so much more with the furniture and the building and the decorating. And I would like to see more of that, but I want them to like also maintain like the cute quirkiness
yeah.
of each of the regions, going to visit all of the different areas and like the islands like you do in My Sims Kingdom, and them each having their own unique things about them. I do like, I just feel like My Sims Kingdom is a perfect game. Like I really do love it so much that I would like to see maybe not like a sequel, like we don't need to be in the kingdom
Yeah.
anymore, but maybe we could be somewhere else, you know?
Mm,
And I do like the furniture building of My Sims, and if we were to get a sequel to that game, um, I think that it could be really interesting, but if I had to pick, it would definitely be more so like My Sims Kingdom,
mhm.
my dream new game.
Yeah. I feel like they could probably combine elements, like have it like My Sims Kingdom, but you can also make furniture from scratch, like in My
Mhm.
Sims. We'll have to stay tuned
It's so
and
interesting
yeah.
and it's so unique. Like, like you don't
Hmm.
do that in Animal Crossing. Like you craft furniture, but you don't like build it from scratch with building blocks. And I think that's so unique. I
It
love
is
it.
so
I don't know.
unique. There was
Mhm.
only one other game that I've seen that tried to do the same mechanic. Do you know Hoko Life?
No, I never played it. I didn't know that they
Mm,
tried to do that.
yeah, I was interested in this game because it's kind of like this Animal Crossing style. It's very similar to My Sims actually, and you can build furniture from scratch. And I think they even have like community like contests where there's like a theme and like people need to build things. So, but the game is so clunky.
Oh.
The villagers, they look like humans and like animal like mascot like costumes. The villagers are a bit creepy. The game is just not that great, but it had that idea of like building furniture like in My Sims. And yeah, when I played that
Mhm.
game, I was just like, okay, I want to play My Sims. It's bad when you play a game and you're just thinking about like another game. Now My Sims is here, so I'm glad
It's
everybody can enjoy it.
here. I'm
It's
really
here.
excited about it. I hope that people are
Hmm.
liking it. So far a lot of the comments have been pretty positive, and they've been really liking their experience with the game, and I'm just so glad and I'm so happy because yeah, like I've personally just never been like against by any means a remake, remaster, in this case a re-release. Like I don't I think a lot of people do have harsh opinions about that, but I like to see people play games that already exist that are great,
Mm-hmm.
that aren't very accessible. I would consider at this point this to be like the definitive version, right? Because
Yeah, yeah, for
God
sure.
forbid anybody goes and plays My Sims on the Wii and they sit through that 1 minute loading
No.
screen. Like, actually, please don't do
Hmm.
that. Just play this.
Yeah, honestly, it's a great port, and I think it's a good way. Like, it's a safer investment for EA than like trying to make a new game and it fails. So,
Mm.
as much as I would love to see a new game, I'm so glad we got these ports that I was never not expecting at all. Before we go to our news segment, anything else you want to
Mm.
say about My Sims?
No, I think they're
Hmm.
spectacular. I'm looking at your footage right now, and Gabby's one of my favorite characters. I love him. He's so weird. But yeah, they're very quirky and they're very good and they're very unique. and special, and
Hmm.
I just am so happy that they're here. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm stoked.
And honestly, and you get two games for the price of like pretty reasonable price, two games in like one bundle. So I think that's good. They could have easily just released the two games separately, but they didn't do
Mhm.
that. So I'm glad we have them both together.
Yeah,
Hmm.
honestly, they could have done that. They could have done, 2 $40 games, right?
Especially knowing
Um,
EA, they like to like, you know, just make a lot of money and just
do the
sell you a lot of
most.
things. So yeah.
Yep, I agree, and I think that, having these as a bundle for $40, like, that's $20 per game.
Mm,
They're amazing games, they're great, that's where I stand. I think it's a great price, and I'm pretty picky about pricing, so
yeah. So now we're gonna talk about the Fields of Mistria update. It's got its first major update on November 18th, so it's been about a week now. What are your thoughts on Fields of Mistria? Because I know you've played it quite a bit
Mhm.
when it came out. What do you think of it?
Yes, I really have enjoyed, Fields of Mistria thus far. I mean, I was a little sad when I hit the early access brick wall.
Mm,
I think I first, started noticing that, like, oh yeah, this game is early access in fall, fall
yeah,
of the first year. And so I'm really excited to play through the update because I really want to see. I'm most excited for the new heart events. So everybody's gonna have a 6 heart event, I believe, right?
yeah, exactly.
Um, that's what I want. I'm so excited. Who was your favorite so far out of the bachelors and the bachelorettes?
I am still torn between Celine and March.
Mhm.
So I'm at 4 hearts with each, and honestly, all the characters are so interesting. All the events, the like heart events, are so fun, and I love how the characters are gonna talk about the heart events. Like even after the event, when you
Yeah.
talk to them, they're gonna like reference what happened, and there's just so much attention to detail in the dialogue in this game. So it's gonna be hard to choose. I feel like I know Ulrich. Everybody wants Ulrich. That's the
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I
March's
don't
brother,
understand
right?
why he's not a bachelor. Like, why not?
You
I don't
can't
know. I
have
wonder if we're
everyone,
gonna learn that,
He just wants to
like,
be
why that
single.
is.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. I think
No.
he's hot and I wanna date
Yeah.
him.
So who's your pick so far?
Okay, my first initial, like, I was goo goo gaga over March,
Mm,
okay? But March, his first heart event scene, I think,
yeah.
he was so mean, like, in a way where I was really put off by him for a
Mm,
second, and so then I started going for Baylor.
yeah.
I said Baylor for, like, the whole time that I played, but then I watched some other people and they said Balor, and so I'm like, "Okay, whatever," but yeah, he's my favorite now. He's very cute. And then, of course, I love Juniper.
Mm,
So, I'm excited. I don't know. I did think towards the end of my gameplay, I mean, there were so many like little tiny things that I think that they could fix, just, cute little quality of life stuff or,
mhm,
certain things that need tuning in my opinion. Um, but I just didn't feel like it was like productive to list all that out. But I did think that the game needs just like a little bit more conflict. And
mm,
I liked, I guess, looking back on it, that there's so much conflict with March. But in general, and like the story and everything, I would like to see that happen. And I'd like to see that come through in more of the heart events because I do feel like some of the heart events are pretty just like milk toast, you
oh,
know?
yeah. Mm,
I don't know.
yeah,
So,
it's hard because you want to appeal to the cozy crowd. I mean, a lot of people don't want conflict in their game, but I agree with you. I
mhm,
do like to have like ups and downs in my relationships in games and like seeing
mhm,
things go bad, like have sad events or little heartbreaking things. So yeah, it would be nice to see more of that. But overall, it's
mhm,
such a good game. And with the update, the early access wall has been pushed back a little bit. So now heart events go from like 4 to 6. Town level goes from like 50 to 75. Skills from like 30 to 45. So I was kind of stuck with like everything maxed out, and now I can finally break that
Mhm.
little wall and like keep playing. So it's been so nice to go back to the game after a break. Um,
Did they add in more mine levels, I'm assuming?
no, the mine is still stuck at 60. There's more monsters in it, and each monster now gives you like a little hat. So you can have a little like lantern hat, or in the footage right now, I have the little slime hat. There's
Cute.
also like little bats. There's like new monsters. But it's still 60 because I'm assuming maybe after that, because there's two secret romance like marriage candidates, right? There's the goddess and then the statue, and I'm assuming they're probably
Oh,
linked.
yeah.
They're probably linked to like progress in the caves and like the main
Mhm,
story. So I'm assuming that's gonna be added later. But
mhm.
I'm looking forward to like continuing in the caves.
Yes. I wanna
Mm,
marry my weird cave harvest goddess.
yeah,
Whatever she is down
right.
there. I don't know. She's pretty. I wanna know more about her.
I know. I can't wait to see what they do with these characters, and if they like the statue. Is the statue guy like the dragon? Is he gonna does he have like a human form, or is he gonna be like a dragon, or does he stay just like a statue and you're romancing a statue and like you just
I
I
I'd
want to
like to
know.
see him have a human form for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I imagine he's, like, beefy. He's big and
Yeah,
beefy, kinda like
probably.
Hayden. That's the kinda
Yeah,
build I
right.
want.
That
If
yeah. Pro.
if I had to
Mm-hmm.
say.
Yeah, I mean, he's a dragon, so he's gotta be like muscular and like strong.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what I wanna
Mm.
see.
Soon, hopefully soon, the full game should be releasing next year. So I don't think they're planning like too many updates. It's gonna be like maybe 2 or 3 more updates. The full game should be out next year.
Mhm.
So we'll get to discover all of these
Yeah.
characters
I
and
thought that it was a really solid
mm,
game so far, you know?
yeah,
Um, I'm just so excited to see them build upon it because, yeah, like, you know, it's it's pretty, like, unique, I guess, in its own ways. It's not, like, revolutionary, by any means,
yeah,
but I just feel like they really did so much with the dialogue and the story that I, like, have been craving, and the reason why I think so many people love Stardew Valley, is the dialogue and the story, and just how stellar that is, and so this game, I think, is already on, like, such a good track with that, so
yeah.
exciting stuff.
Do you think it could surpass Stardew Valley, like for you, in terms of like your preferred farming sim?
Mm, no.
No.
I don't think anything
Mm.
can, to be totally
Mm.
honest. I'm so Stardew Valley for life. Also, I just don't see any farming game ever surpassing
Mm.
Stardew Valley just in general with, like, popularity
Oh yeah, for
and,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, like, it's, like, one of the top 10 best-selling PC games of
Mhm.
all time. Nobody's gonna remember anything as much as they remember Stardew Valley, I think. Um, but I think this could be still a very successful game.
Yeah.
Especially for, there's a lot of people who only played Stardew Valley and aren't familiar with other farming games. I think that this would be such a good game for them to get, just kind of those casual
Mhm.
gamers. I think that it could be a mainstream game, like, for sure. But
Hopefully it does well. Yeah. It's
yeah.
always tricky with early access because I feel like the hype of the game is more like spread out. There like early access comes out and people are excited, and then everybody forgets about it because they're waiting for content, and then there's an update, people get excited. So I feel like when the full
Mhm,
release comes out, that's what happened to me with Coral Island. I played it so much in early access with every update, and then the full release came out. I played it for a little bit, and I was like, okay, I already have like 100 hours because I played like so much during early access, and I with the full release, I just kind of like forgot about the game. I quickly dropped it.
mhm,
So
mhm.
sometimes I wish there was less early access games. You know.
True, but wasn't Stardew Valley early access? I don't know, I jumped onto
No,
it
it was
so
a
late.
full release. It released in
Was it
2011,
full release?
2016,
Mm,
and the game got updated a lot, but it was a
wow.
full release. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're onto something with that because yeah, I this fall off happened similar to me with Coral Island, but I actually never even like got that far in the game. I
Mm.
think what happened was one time there was no festival and it said there was going to be a festival and I was like, screw you. And then I never touched the game again
Yeah, the same happened.
or something because it was in
Yeah,
early access and I just got so upset and I like didn't care anymore. So
yeah.
I do need to go back and play it because there is so much that, I was watching somebody else play it, my friend EJ the other day, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, there is so much here that I haven't played. Like, I should go back.
Yeah. That's one thing I like about the early access in Fields of Mistria. Like Coral Island, there were so many instances of like, oh, come here tomorrow for this festival, and then you go there and it's not ready yet. But Fields of
Mhm.
Mistria, even though you have this wall at a certain point where you can't progress, there's no like it
They
doesn't.
tell you.
They tell you, right? So
They're
they're
not promising
yeah,
you. You're not going into summer and being like, you know, "Oh, there's this holiday coming up," and then it comes and it's like, "Actually, it's not ready yet." They're just
exactly.
not even gonna tell
Yeah,
you that that's coming,
yeah.
That's great.
Or you try to enter a building and it says, "Oh no, sorry, this building is not. You can't come here in early access." So I like the way that
Oh,
they
yeah.
built it, so it doesn't feel early access until you reach the point where like later in the game.
Yeah, and then
Mhm,
they make it well known that you can't progress anymore, don't even try, don't worry about it, yeah.
mhm,
And
exactly.
so, well, it was a little disappointing when I did hit, that wall. I was like, "I get it, I understand, and I love this game for what it is right now."
Mhm. So next,
So,
another game that was in early access that is now fully released is Sunhaven, and it's coming out for the Nintendo Switch. They said like it was supposed to come out for the Switch so long ago. We have a date finally for the first time actually. So it's releasing for North America and Asia on November 29th, Europe and Australia on December 16th on the Nintendo eShop. So that's gonna be fun. Have you played Sunhaven? Have you heard of that game? Do you know a little bit about it?
I've only played, like, 1 season,
Hmm.
um, so I didn't really play much of it at all, and I liked it. I don't know why it didn't grab me. I don't really have, like, a critical opinion of it at all. I should probably go back and give it another chance because I do remember really liking like the
Mm-hmm.
art style and really liking all of like the magic and stuff like that, right? And I don't know why I just didn't pick it up again. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because
So,
there's just so many games releasing all the time. So it's just easy to sometimes you start a game, you like it, and then you just start playing something else. It's a really
mhm.
good game.
No, I
They keep
imagine.
adding more and more content, so it does become overwhelming. At one point, there's like 3 farms, there is 4 towns. They keep adding more romanceable
Mm,
characters, so it's getting to a point where the quantity of stuff is a bit overwhelming, kind of like The Sims with
mm,
all the packs. You know,
mm.
they also have lots of DLC, like cosmetic DLCs. But yeah, it's releasing for the Switch very soon. So for everybody who's been waiting for a long time, they'll finally be able to
Yeah.
enjoy that. Next,
Yeah, maybe I'll
yeah,
get it for the Switch.
I hope it's gonna run well. I mean, I feel like it should because it's a pixel art game, but you never know, right? With these indie games, sometimes you think a game's gonna run well and it doesn't.
I never trust him.
Hmm.
I almost never trust him. Ah, but
Next, we got an announcement regarding the second tour of the Stardew Valley concert. The Stardew Valley Orchestra. It's going to be the Symphony of Seasons. It's going to be taking place starting in August of 2025 and throughout 2026. And they did a first concert like this year and last year as well, I believe, that did really well. So they're gonna redo another one with a larger orchestra, different arrangements, different tracks, more visual features. So there's gonna be a screen, more effects, and I'm looking forward to it. I think you've been to the first one, right? Have you?
yes, so
Yeah.
I went to the first round. I went to the Los Angeles show, and I just this morning got tickets to the to this one too
Mm,
because I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was so worth it. It was so beautiful. The music was gorgeous. Everything was gorgeous. I felt so emotional the whole time. I was like, "Wow, like, oh my god, maybe I'm not depressed.
Mm.
I actually feel so happy right now."
Yeah.
But, like, it was so beautiful, and I highly, highly recommend it. I'm gonna go this time to the Seattle show, because I'm gonna go to PAX West that same weekend, so
Mm.
boom, boom, you know?
Nice.
But yeah, no, like, I definitely think I highly recommend it. Are you gonna go?
So, okay, so I went to the one in Toronto last year, this year.
Mhm.
Like you, it was amazing. Someone proposed to his girlfriend during the concert, so it was like so emotional. Everybody was like clapping, like crying. It was such a nice
You're like, "Why am I
experience,
crying right now at the
right?
Stardew Valley
Yeah.
Orchestra?"
But like the music was nice, and to know that they're gonna do something like the same thing but better, bigger, I
Mhm,
would definitely want to go for sure. So this morning, I kind of forgot that the pre-sale started today, the day that we're recording
mhm.
this. And so I logged in for the pre-sale a little bit late, and then it put me in a line, and it told me to wait like 30 minutes. And then I kind of forgot about it, and I came back to it like an hour and a half later, and the tickets were
Mm.
all, so there was no ticket available.
Ugh. Dude,
So
that's crazy. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I got kicked out of the line like 3 times
Mm,
when I was trying to buy tickets because the tickets I kept trying to buy were sold out, so I paid a little bit more than I wanted to. So I was a little peeved off by that.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, that's I don't know why, like, I feel like they need to just be doing so many more shows. Like, it looks like it's so many shows, but, like, they need to be doing so many more shows. Like,
Right.
people wanna go to this, you know?
I know they need to do more, or like bigger um, theaters, bigger rooms, or something. Um,
Mhm.
One thing is, yeah, so the general sale is gonna start on December 2nd. So I'm gonna try again on December 2nd. I don't know if they keep some tickets aside, if there's like just a limited number of tickets for the pre-sale. I'm not too sure. So yeah, I'm gonna try again.
Yeah, I would hope that that's how it works, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not like everything can be taken up by the presale.
Yeah.
But anybody could sign up for the presale though, so I don't know, that doesn't really sound like a good sign, you
Right.
know? Like,
Because you just
ugh,
had to use like a little code for the pre-sale, but I'm sure people like shared that code, or it was like,
mine
yeah,
was Pierre.
yeah, it was the same code for everybody, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people could just like someone share it on Twitter, and like, okay, everybody can go get their tickets. So
Yeah.
hopefully there's gonna be
Mhm.
more for sale later. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. If not, they
Yeah.
have other dates in Canada, so I'll try. I really want to go. I really, really want to go because the first time was so much fun, and
Mhm.
it's so amazing to see this game doing so well, and like doing there's the cookbook that I have the cookbook. I've not cooked anything from it, and like the
Mhm.
orchestra. I love to see these little like spin-off projects around Stardew Valley.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I wanna make something from the cookbook too. I bought it, and I still haven't made anything from it because
Yeah.
freaking Charlie Barley made all the recipes, and I was like, "Well,
Right.
I guess I'm not making a video then." No, I love her so much. I
Mm.
loved her video. She's so awesome, but, like, yeah, I'm like, "Oh, like, maybe I should." Honestly, I was thinking about, like, "Oh, what am I gonna bring to Thanksgiving,
Oh,
um,
Stardew
this year?
recipes.
Maybe I'll make something from the cookbook."
Mm-hmm. You have something in mind? You have like one recipe that.
Maybe I'll just do pink cake or something. I know that's
Mm.
kinda, like, summery vibes, but
Yeah.
maybe I'll just do that
Nice.
because that's a cute one.
Yeah. I was so tempted by I think it's like the pineapple curry or something like that. That looked
Mm.
so good. I'm
Mm,
getting hungry. I did not have breakfast today.
me either.
Yeah.
I've been running late, so, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. Maybe I can go have a look at that cookbook after our episode. Now we're gonna
Mhm.
jump into our last little bit of news. Are
Yeah,
you?
this is news to me.
Yeah. Are you familiar? How familiar are you with the Rune Factory like series?
I played a couple Rune Factory games. I don't remember which games I've played. I haven't played them at all, since I've started YouTube and since I've
Mm,
started the channel. That has been such a dream of mine to go back and play through all the Harvest Moons and the Rune Factories, and especially the games that I missed because I have not played every single one in either series, you know what I mean?
mm,
So, but yeah, no, a fan of Rune Factory. I feel like I need to hop into them as an adult, you know? It's been such a long time.
Yeah, you should. And so many of these games have like even the older ones are still so good. Rune Factory Frontier, so good. I've been playing it recently on the Wii. I think that's my favorite of the whole series. If you're looking for a place to start, Rune Factory Tides of Destiny is great as well. But so the creator of Rune Factory, Yoshifumi Hashimoto, who's created the series and he's been like producing all the Rune Factory games. He also worked on some of the Story of Seasons games. He's announced his new project with Hakama, the studio that develops the Rune Factory games, called Progress Orders. This game will release on April 10th in Japan. I'm assuming it will probably get an international release, probably a few months or maybe a year later. There's no like English or like worldwide announcement for now. And in this game, you will be managing a guild. So you're going to be a guild master, and it seems like there's going to be a little bit of fishing, a little bit of farming. So you will retrieve some elements. You will find some elements if you're familiar with Rune Factory in
Mm.
this game, and looks nice. But I have some thoughts. But before I share them, I want to know what are your thoughts watching the trailer.
I don't have thoughts. I thought it
Mm,
looked, like a Rune Factory game, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of UI. Yeah,
right? Yeah.
like, show me some
Yeah.
gameplay.
I mean, you're managing a guild, so you're probably gonna have to manage some things. There's like in the bottom left, there's like 6 different characters, and I think you're gonna be maybe able to give like directions to characters, tell them to like do things. We don't
Mhm,
know too much about it for now.
mhm,
I'm assuming it's probably gonna be a smaller kind of scale game, maybe not as big as Rune Factory. Recently, like last year, they launched actually this year, El Rentero's Wanderings, another game from this same studio that was like there was like dungeon crawling, and then in the town you could do like a little bit of farming. There was a little bit of romance, but everything was like visual novel style, like the dialogue instead of like proper cutscenes. So I feel like this one is gonna be similar, and you can see some scenes where
mhm,
they're talking. It's just kind of like visual novel. Even like the combat, it seems like
mm.
you don't really see too much action. So I feel like it's gonna be a lot of menus, a lot of yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a super big fan of the visual novel
Mm,
type style.
yeah,
I just never have been because I've never really given it a real true shot.
yeah,
But this could be interesting. I mean, I'll wait for your review.
yeah. Definitely, I'll play it, but I'm not 100%. I feel like it's gonna be good, but I don't put my expectations like too high for it. It's gonna be like a
Mhm.
fun little game, but I don't think it's gonna be revolutionary or anything like that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's not gonna knock anybody's socks off,
Yeah,
really, but it'll be a interesting new series, right? Um, so
hopefully,
that's
yeah.
exciting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so these were the news for today. And pretty much it for this episode. Liz, thank you so much for joining me. It was so fun to chat about The Sims, My Sims,
Mm.
all of these games with you. Before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to say to our viewers?
I'm not sure. I mean, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on. You're so awesome. I love your show and I love your YouTube channel. And I think that you are giving the people what they want, all the cozy farming sim gaming news. And I just really appreciate that as somebody who, you know, doesn't want to play every single game. And so I'm very honored that you invited me on to talk about my Sims and stuff today
Hmm.
too. I'm really hope that everybody likes it and everything, just because I love these games so much, and I just am, yeah, thankful for you because I'm feeling thankful this week because it's Thanksgiving.
It
So
is,
thankful for
yeah.
you for inviting me on the podcast.
Thank you. Actually, this episode will premiere during Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. So happy Thanksgiving to all of our viewers,
Yeah.
listeners. If you're looking for
Those who
something to
celebrate.
do, yeah, celebrate. Go watch
Mhm.
some List the Last videos. It's gonna keep you busy all night. Lots of fun content. If you're curious about more Sims spin-offs, you want to see how it was, and
Yeah.
yeah. and
Back in the day.
back in the day, and let us know which Sims games you'd like to see ported or
Mm.
remade because
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot
And
to
tell
choose from.
me
Yeah.
say what we wanna hear and say the herbs.
Yeah. The herbs, yes. EA, please bring the herbs back. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.